Make the centrine. Alright. Well, nobody bought my helmet. So, I actually could. I'm going to I'm gonna wait and
be quick about your business. Trust no one.
here. Anything else from this? So I think this, like, some vision dust, but we'll just go over here.
What is it?
All right. Jeez. So we'll go to Stone Earth, then come down here, then probably fly back up here.
Watch your
So we got some time. Dun, 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 dun. A shout out. Looking for a shout. Chat's looking for a shout out. Cool. So anyway, we got like it's like a 5-minute flight. So, and we'll go down here to. Oh, I need to come over here. I need to do this too. So when I come back through here, I can try to see if I can't find a group to that because it's an elite quest. Depending on how much health it has, should be able to solo it if it has like 7k health or so. But anything more than that, it's kind of hard to kite basically that much. All right. All right. Oh, the sunken tipple. It'll be fun to finally do this again. I really enjoy this. I think other people really enjoy it. It's just it's a tough instance. It's really the first instance that has a lot of mechanics that's just not tank and spank, and some things where you actually have to not just tank correctly, but you have to uh, you have to have some. You have to have self-awareness basically, and your gear has to be decent, um like Zul'Farrak, for instance. Like, we had that tank, even the second tank, or the third tank, the first and the third tank both had two-handers, and their AoE threat ability was really minimal, and wasn't that good. It wasn't happy. Their single target, like, for single target threat, two-hander tanking is fine. But when it comes to AOE generation, I think sword one-handed shield, um, it's better for everybody basically. Wonder if they're going to come out with any content. Details, combat add-ons are safe. Okay, well, we have some new news about some tweaking what add-ons are going to be available, and which ones are legal. Warcraft game director details, looks like a PC Gamer article. Warcraft game director details which combat ads are safe and which will be eliminated in the coming purge. The process is beginning. They won't be. The process is just beginning, and they won't be turned off in the next 2 patches. So basically, the remainder of this expansion, these add-ons will be not touched, basically. So come next expansion, they will be hindering them. So. In he said definitely won't.
Zug. For the Horde!
He said definitely won't take combat load or hooks, which leaves the door open for the patches, and including the pre-patch for upcoming midnight expansion later this year. Have a 2% chance when struck in combat to increasing your armor by 335 for... that's a tanking trinket.
Victory!
That's still recharge in.
Alright. We're going to go this way. So basically, they're not going to start rolling out these add-on limitations until next expansion. So, I mean, this means the race to world first really won't change much. They might limit some things, but I don't think it's going to be much. The question is does the race world first, does it continue as is next expansion, basically? And it sounds like any move based on this decision, any move to another team, for like the big pro teams anyway, is going to be strictly based on what add-ons are basically what the future holds, basically. There could be some holdouts or stuff like that, but the game fundamentally will change at the top levels. So, and even at like the top levels, like, you know, the game, like anybody using videos or anything like that, or add-ons for specific things that have to occur, just in some ways they're going to be on a very even playing field at this point. Or they'll be completely they'll be left behind because they don't have a skill level to compete. So both, I think just having the even playing field, I think is nice. Basically, I think that's what everybody wants for the most part, even if it increases the difficulty, which you can argue in two ways that, yes, it increases the difficulty, but it also allows for the fun, like, everything that add-ons take away. So, like, add-ons take away the fundamental game played on a field-based level, like in golf. I consistently say that WoW is like a golf game. What add-ons do? Add-ons allow you to, like, it's like a rangefinder. Okay, in my opinion. That's all it does. It gives you perfect information, but you still have to go out there and execute and hit the shot that you intend to hit. And you still have to have the skill level to do so. However, if you thinking about it this way is,
I'm out of range.
I know it's a golf game and there's a lot of feel to it, but taking the add-ons away is basically taking the rangefinder out of the game of golf, in which at the highest levels, at the pro level, is the thing. You know, they don't allow rangefinders at the highest levels in the highest course, whether it be the US Open or anything else like that. And they don't do that for a reason, because rangefinding and using your eyes to lay out the distances and knowing uphill, downhill slopes and things like that, and knowing all this, that's a part of the game. And to take that away, really just what it does is it makes it very uniform. And because a lot of people can hit a 50-yard shot dead on the money, you know, but can you hit the 52, or what about the 53.5 that is slightly uphill and an incline but to the left? So when it comes up, it'll come up and come around, and maybe you want that, maybe you don't, you know. So what it does is it makes the best golfers in the world be able to have control, and the best feel actually wins at the game. I think we're at that point here, and many people will disagree with that, but you know, I think it is true that, you know, that some people won't even see this effect, Some people don't use that many add-ons, and some people actually get a better experience out of the game because they're able to. Maybe they don't play as much, but even though those people that don't play as much, are they really going to miss, like, you know, the functionality of not having a rangefinder? I don't think so. I think they'll be able to play the game, enjoy the game. If they really, really enjoy the game, they'll stick around and they'll play a more field game, and they'll find out that that gives them actually a more level playing ground for everybody, rather than equipment to do it. Because at the end of the day, what if your rangefinder can do more than other people's rangefinders? Should you just ban all rangefinders, or should you just allow everybody to use one type of rangefinder that gives you limited information? And I think they're going with their thing. For the most part, I think they're just giving you one limited rangefinder and giving you the information that you need. And hopefully it's customizable to the point and liking of everyone. I think the customability is, or the customization of these add-ons that will be put in place is the real pertaining issue to people. Like, people want, and rightly so, people want different colors for different things, and I think they're allowed to have that. And I think that's a good, okay thing to have in the game. So, because whether your rangefinder is pink or whether it's whatever color it is, you know, so blue and green, you know, anything. So it doesn't really matter of the data it gives you and the performance increase that it gives you. So yeah. But that's my take on it. I'm going to look more into it, I believe. If you got any questions, definitely put them in chat. I also need to see how to do this quest, because it says it's here. It says it's... oh, this is the Sunken Temple quest. Oh, never mind. Why'd I come over here? So... then we'll hit the flight path, the Booty Bay, and we'll be good. Okay, so it seems like quest helpers, gathering add-ons, role-playing add-ons, and so it seemed to be fine. Auction house add-ons, like basically some serious quality of life add-ons here, you know, of overarching, like overarching and generalized are going to be fine. And then the PvP add-ons will tell you what classes, so general information, but won't tell you cooldowns have been used, which we've been told before. So. Has discussed many approaches and believe this was at least a basic path that would accomplish the goal. This is not setting out to smash a bunch of add-ons. He said it was the way it approaches these collateral damage it can cause while addressing the issue. Yes. Which is what we're going for. You know, we want to keep we want to keep the gameplay as similar as possible, but we also want it to be a fair gameplay environment that the top players don't have a strategic advantage over anyone else. Like, so if you're going to have information out there, like, you want to have a system to where it's fair for everybody to have that information available within the add-ons that are available. You know, whether they're third party or not, but it's the customization of the add-ons that people are kind of worried about here. Is that they're able to get that it's not that they're not able to do it, it's that maybe they basically have to wait for the week or that someone else made to do the content of which everyone else is already doing. So UI to increasingly narrow goals to build up the native functionality of our UI to increasingly narrow the gap between players who are using add-ons that assist with competitive functions and those that are not. Once we are most of the way there, there's going to be the last mile, and consists of things that honestly don't think are super healthy for the game. That's when the functionality would be turned off. So, alright. Let me share that. The company is building. I think the top boss timers for like reading boss abilities and timelines for raid leading. I think raid leading will become more of a feel thing. It's recorded sound files of try audio countdowns when pressed. Yeah. So yeah. This is not setting on this. Okay. Yeah, they're basically probably the biggest hit here is deadly boss mods and big wigs, things like that, little wigs, because people have been playing. Man, deadly boss mods been out since like I don't know if I had it during the Burning Crusade, but it's definitely been out. It's definitely been out since Wrath of the Lich King. So that's going to be a big change. It's going to be a change for raid leaders. Some raid leaders are just going to fail at this because they're just using they're so used to just reading things off a screen, including myself. But there's a lot of people like, and this is why I say it's a feel game, because now it's going to be even more, because now you have to watch out for this, now there's now you can't just say, okay, in 7 seconds this is going to happen, and just remind everybody to do this. Like, you're not going to have that anymore. And so, I didn't mean to do that. So I think raid leaders are going to have a problem with that. So let's move on. All right. So they're going to come out with their own damage meter. They're going to come out with their own boss mods. So it kind of... What's really nice is it's going to be uniform, right? Like we were saying, that everybody gets their own rangefinder. You know, everybody... so everybody gets their own rangefinder. Everybody gets their own set of data. I don't know if this is worth doing. Crescent. Is this a... it might be, because I think it's a... It's 1,000 needles. I don't know. It's an elite quest, always. I don't know, it might be right. So... So they're taking more of it. We're going to give you a limited rangefinder here, which is cool. So, these are the final patches of expansion, including the pre-patch for upcoming. So be the next phase is your possible starting point. Okay, so they're going to midnight expansion, which it's two seasons basically. The start of midnight, which they've already addressed here. Right. Right. I think most people here are going to be like, well, Warcraft logs, are those going to exist after this? At least that's going to be my big thing here. Is
Not still recharge in.
And the reason why that matters, because a lot of people use logs to recruit. You know, we all do. I believe recruiting, guild recruiting, is probably the biggest thing here. Now, obviously, like, I can look at somebody's logs and say yeah or nay pretty quickly, but you can also do that with playing with the person. But I could see just playing with the person being nice and maybe get a helpful hint, you know, on like, hey, how to improve a little bit, which I'm fine. But at a certain, for me anyway, when I don't mind helping people, but when I like really break down people's play style, like, there has to be kind of like a compensation there, a little bit. They have to realize that I'm putting 2 or 3 hours into making their gameplay better, and they're not necessarily raiding with me, but you can only do that so many times before you become like you're putting so much time into their gameplay that's not going to help your raid group. Yes, they could raid with you, and you can see that. But maybe this player can't even make your raid times, but you're just helping out. Like, how many times are you going to do that before you see necessary compensation? And from my perspective, anyway, this is personal, of course. So we have that part of it too, that, you know, this is also going to help that, but it won't help on the rotation stuff necessarily. I mean, there's obviously a rotational helper, but to really, you know, that's only going to give you what percentage of your actual theoretical DPS, you know. Obviously, getting 100% theoretical DPS is obviously the goal. But how many hours of someone else looking at your logs, and how close are you going to get there? Through my experience, I can gain, depending on where you're at, I get 15 to 25%, maybe more, but typically 15 to 25% immediately out of people's DPS, and or healing or anything like that. Like that, I have that ability basically to look at this data, but I'm very good at data, and so I'm not saying that functionality is going to turn off, but how, one, without logs, how am I going to understand, other than going through recount or whatever damage meter they have, other than that, how am I supposed to help that player, compensation or not? How am I supposed to help that player get better at their class without reading the data, kind of thing? I think that's my biggest thing. How am I able to help somebody else understand why they're not getting better at the game, understanding how to improve at the game, not, you know. And the rotation helper is only going to do so much. It'll only take you up to a certain level of percentage of your theoretical DPS, or even the one button. With the one button thing, like, it's not, that one button thing isn't going to give you perfect information on this. I'm pretty sure. Like, it's still going to have a hindrance here. So we're looking at like, if I want my guild to get better, or a player in my guild, and they come up to me and ask, how do I get better in my class? I have no information to give them. I have no feedback to give them, other than the things like, you know, things I can just see on my screen. Even if they share their screen, I can't, you know, I'm not going to sit here and, basically the problems on their data sheet become very kind of prominent, basically. And I'm very good at spotting those things now over a long course of time. So I think this is one of my big questions. See if they're going to resolve this, and if they do, then how are they going to do that? So we'll see where this kind of goes. Okay. So no kick, no interrupts, no interrupt thing. Which, let's be honest, in a pug scene, doesn't necessarily happen. I think in the pug scene, I think it's more call out anyway. I think this is more of a hit to the pros, to the top level things, because I think they actually use add-ons rather than call outs. I think when it's more, I think for homework keys, I have a feeling that I think for homework keys, I think it is more of a. It's more truthful to say for homework keys. Say that a simple call out happens, or the add-on is used more for homework keys than possibly in keys that you're trying to progress. I think what the add-on does, I think it doubles down for the group leader to call out said add-on things, kind of like DBM does in raid. Like it's more of an assistant to the raid leader than anything else. So like one guy's doing interrupt callouts. I think it's more of a helpful thing, but it's also a visualization for everybody as well to be like he did it kind of thing. But also I think this also, because of that, this is going to force more people in comms. I know that WoW has an in-game chat system, but Discord is so intertwined at this point. Do we really care about that? So I'm not too worried about that, because I think comms are part of the game. But I think some people are worried about that. I think there's a language barrier here that they're going to have to worry about. Say you have a guildie that's speaks another language, doesn't have like English as a second language or something like that, or just in general, like they can't communicate very well via comms. And how are you going to do that? Not saying it's perfect. Obviously, it's not perfect. So I think we have to keep that in mind. Is that like a huge issue? No, I don't think so. Because I think that most pugs don't use anything. I don't even think they use comms for the most part for pugging. But I think for established groups, I think most people play with... I think that's a niche problem, basically, to fix. Tracking of group abilities will no longer function in add-ons after the changes. Okay, this is Omni-CC stuff, so your lane players' cooldowns won't be visible. Instead, that might in turn dungeon few routes, pack of mobs, which in turn lead less reliance on classes of abilities. Stop the whole pack. So they're kind of getting away from silences, like layered interrupts. Like, and in reality, if they're going to do layered interrupts, they need to be able to do it where it's not a meta thing. Like, you don't have to play this class to have this layered, or you give everybody a layered... the way you fix this is you give everybody a layered interrupt, or the same amount of layered interrupts. And that makes the game really uniform, and some would argue that's really boring, but that's kind of where you're getting at, right? That everybody they did that saying, like, every healer can dispel magic and everything like that. So, and then the rest of the classes can do like disease and poisons and things like that, like for paladin, decurse for mages and things like that. So you have that stuff, but incoming heals will no longer be trackable. Nor will specialized buffs be turned. But if they need to be, that should be built into the base game. Okay, so they're basically saying incoming heals. I think the incoming heal thing is more of a raid thing. When you have multiple healers, and you're talking about, by the incoming heals, you're talking about heals with cap, basically. You have 1 second, whatever that cast time may be, and that's also going to be on the damage meter combat log. So basically, it's reading that there's a heal incoming on the combat log, and then here's how much it's going to do. So I think they're throwing this up in the air, whether it's pertinent information or not, and people need it. You could argue it, but then you have classes that, again, like in M+, I feel like it doesn't matter, because you don't have there's not a whole lot of spot heals from a point of view of an off healer in an M+ scenario. There's not a whole lot of scenarios where you're doing a cast time heal. If you disagree with that, then or know of a specific point, please tell me in chat. We'll have that discussion. But to my knowledge, that does not happen. That the off healing, especially for Paladin, there is. I have not used an actual cast heal as a Ret Paladin or a Protection Paladin in years. You just don't do it. So you're talking about healer only. So this is a quality of life for your healers. I can't even think, like I said, I can't even think of a good example of that. So I would need chat's help for sure. So definitely put that in the comment section. It'd be nice, same true. Going and counting lots. Okay, so they're tank debuffs. Basically, they're going to give you a tank debuff counter for the UI. That's fine for the game. So, but this is also the cool thing is, this is what I like is they can actually make end bosses or certain bosses harder based on the information they give you. They choose to give you. So they just might. I'm not saying they will. Maybe on the final bosses when they come through, they don't have timers. Maybe. And I really like that idea. That you have to that the final boss or maybe two bosses out of the expansion or whatever raid. It's all natural. It's no add-ons. It's no default UI. Now, will that happen? I don't know. But I think that's cool. That's kind of, because you get both a sense of both things, and you get challenged in multiple ways. You get challenged. You get the experience of having an add-on kind of I'm going to call it a pumper kind of thing, like perfect. And you get this, you get the best of both worlds, which is what we're looking for here. You get some boss fights with add-ons and almost perfect information. We're not going to say perfect information, but then you just don't have access to those add-ons on one or two boss fights to really kind of give you the full experience of the game without add-ons when it's played all natural with just default UI things. And Blizzard goes, nope. Or they have, because it's built into the system for the first week or first 2 weeks, first month, they disable it, okay, completely, and say race roll first now, completely add-on free, other than maybe the damage meter, But when it comes to like certain add-ons and stuff or certain default UI things, there you go. For the first weeks, and then that first patch comes out, and then the timers come back. That the damage, I think the combat log, their damage meter will be there the whole time. But then they kind of give it, or what they do is they give you some information, and then at like 4 weeks and 8 weeks, they give you the timers for those abilities they didn't leave it. They left out some abilities on the timers to be able to help those groups that aren't necessarily at that skill level. So they so these bosses will be nerfed in multiple ways now. So one, they're going to give you the normal, like, okay, well, we're going to give you more gear and everything like that. I expect all that to happen. But then they're also going to like give you superior information now. Well, now, and what we can say here is it's a really good thing. Because now they're giving you perfect information, and it's kind of like a pseudo nerf, and a pseudo buff, because they're giving you more information. They're finally taking responsibility that says that perfect information is actually is actually a hindrance to the game, and by kind of limiting that information is actually a nerf to the game, to where giving you the information at a steady level, like so they give you 2 more cooldowns on the default WoW UI. Okay, but then we also give you the +3. We give you the +3 damage buff and healing buff. You get +4 weeks of being able to upgrade your gear with crests, and then obviously every time you run it through, you're going to have all those drops to increase your gear. But then also they give you more information at week 4 than they did at week 2 or week 1. That makes a lot of sense, but it also it's kind of the all-encompassing thing here that Blizzard is really thinking about, that this information is powerful. This information, and then giving people people have formalized and done this in a way that gives them an advantage, and we're kind of over that. We're going to go for a more uniform feel, to where people are winning, or people are creating this content just because they're able to use these add-ons or produce these add-ons that give them unique information that other people don't have. Now, Liquid and all these other top guilds have give that out freely to the communities, which is great to combat this. But this is good by Blizzard to acknowledge that possibly the timers, and I'm not saying that they're necessarily going to do that, but it's something that would be really cool. It'd be cool to watch as you go into week 1 of a raid, have nothing. And then the people that don't want to raid that way, they just wait 2 weeks. Or they go in there and they get frustrated and they're like, man, this is really hard. I'm going to wait 2 weeks and come back, but I have N+. In the meantime, I have N+. I think that's really cool. And what it does is that it opens up the possibilities it opens up the possibilities for this stuff to mean something. This information, these add-ons, to mean something. Now, will it be an overall positive of the game? I don't really know, because we won't know. We basically won't know that until we get there. But that's just I'm reading between the lines here. I don't necessarily have. This is just me being introspective, or not. I'm kind of reading through the lines, and not introspective here. But this is kind of where we're going on this. So it'll be, I think, for my personal gameplay, I think this will be a lot of fun, especially if they do that, because it'll give you, it just helps you out, but also it's going to help the players, the newer players, and it'll also eliminate the handicap, because maybe somebody's more of a field player. It's going to give them an advantage over the people that are really good at like raid timers and stuff like this, and it just changes the game functionally. Yeah. Okay, so the next point is that you don't need an interrupt counter, because there's less interrupts, that they just put less. There's less viability on interrupts, that we don't we don't need. There's just going to be less interrupts completely. But that makes the game less interactive completely. That is, I don't know if that's right for every player. You know what I mean? So, because some people will say, well, less interrupts mean that you have to be less engaged. You know, which is okay. But maybe what it means is as you go up in as you go up in key level, we'll say, as you go up in key level, then maybe the interrupts increase, basically. So what you do is at the lower levels, interrupts are less of a thing, which would otherwise hold you back. I would think anyway, because that would be the main complaint, that I don't necessarily have to be so engaged, basically. But yeah. So and basically, so being basically, by taking away the engagement, basically you take the interactive at the high level, basically. So unless they stair step into it, that's what I'm trying to say is, unless you stair step into it, then it really isn't a thing, basically. So, so whether they model content on this or not, I don't know if they will. Is it relevant? I don't know, because again, if they put less emphasis on this, then it's a less rotation thing. Then it's kind of more of a feel game, but also a call out game versus a standardized kind of not a mechanized system, but a systematic process in which to do this. That is keeping definitely pugs out from reaching the highest levels, but also it's also for the ones at the highest level using this already, their kind of ability to do such a thing. You know, it gets, they get, what's a good word for it? They get an unclear advantage, basically, and which isn't really an advantage, but it's definitely not a level playing field. We'll say that. So, and at the end of the day, you're still relying on your teammates, basically, and that is not necessarily, like, you still have to communicate, kind of thing, you know. So, and that's the big thing here, is it's pushing voice comms more. It's things like that. So. So part of the goal, create the problem that needs to be solved. The goal is to keep similar numbers of wipe counts normal. That makes sense. That you want the same failure rate. Versus early versus late, similar, sure. So they want the same distribution, basically, which makes sense, but it's actually kind of hard. But tailor to the world where they're probably once again the players. So again, oh man, how are they gonna? So they're going to over mechanic us, basically. More mechanics, less interrupts. So there's going to be less. It's going to be more of doing the thing rather than press the button kind of thing. or like it's going to be more. I'm not sure if this is going to turn into what I've heard. I haven't played Final Fantasy, but
That's still recharging.
so it might turn into that. It might turn more into a Final Fantasy type of thing.
Ready yet?
Because it's going to be more mechanic based and less interrupt based. So, but there's still going to be mechanics there to where you have to press your button, but it's just not going to be so systematic. And if it does have to be systematic, there's also going to be like other mechanics, I guess. But it says there's going to be balance. So either this is the question: is in high level and plus, are the interrupts going to be as devastating as they are at the lower? And I'm sure there's going to be some kind of scaling. The question is what is the feel of that scaling compared? What is the feeling of that compared to the eye level? You know, what is that ratio? Is it going to be level 10s at a certain eye level? When do things get, and then at max eye level, like for instance right now, be like 682 or whatever the max eye level is. How, like, if you miss an interrupt, is that instant wipe, instant tank death? What are we talking, like, when? It depends on the scaling. I'm sure they're going to put it in there. Are they going to mess with the individual dungeon, the individual dungeon percentage of an overall damage thing? Like, I think this is what we're really kind of looking for as in when this comes out in next expansion. You know, not the season. When Midnight comes out, basically. But again, they're saying less swirls for casters, so casters don't get. So, if they do this, the reason why caster is hard to play is because you constantly get targeted and you have a cast bar, basically. So you're constantly choosing: do I hit a defensive and soak this and heal and make my healer heal through it, which you hope he's just paying attention, or am I going to sit here and like am I going to cut my cast off, not cast my spell, so my DPS takes an immediate hit, because as soon as I started my cast, a swirly went on the bottom, like underneath me, and I have to address that, you know? And so, like I said, there's two ways to deal with that: hit a defensive and soak it and make the healer deal with it, or stop my cast, hindering my DPS, and then move, and then start to cast again, in the hopes of another swirly doesn't go beyond, like, below me, and I have the same option over again. That's what I'm getting here on this. Okay, that makes sense. So their argument is that people, this is true, and this is true for myself to some extent, that what I just stated is such an issue that start cast, like, if I start a cast and a swirly goes underneath me, I have two options: allow the cast to go off, hit a defensive soak, make my healer heal through it, or finish my cast, or stop my cast, and then get out of it and step out of the circle, recast, and hope that a swirly doesn't go underneath me then. So I could see this as a deterrent not play DPS as a ranged, you know. So, and because as a melee you have the same options, but the thing with the melee is you don't have a cast bar. You know, you're never channeling anything. Like in the things you do channel, it's usually depending on the fight, and with the timers, you're easily able to time it to where you hit the cooldown 2 seconds before the swirly is going to go underneath you if you know it's coming, basically. And you're just used to running around like your head cut off and being able to melee and DPS because, you know, you don't have to right click every single time you melee. You right click once and it constantly does your basic attack over and over again. So it's like you never have to stop. So the advantageous thing, obviously, when you play melee is going to be the fact that I don't have every swirly that goes underneath me, I'm running out of, typically. There's only a very few, unless the only reason you would not do it is because it would be a called raid AoE that you either have to soak or you have, for instance, like in the Frog fight when he puts down the Blossom and you have the AoEs coming out, you AMZ that, and then everyone stands in the AMZ and just soaks it and then a Mass Dispel comes out for everybody. So if you have a Death Knight AMZ and then a monk or a priest Mass Dispel, you do two big things at once, and you basically clear the debuff of the majority of the raid, and then mitigate all the damage that was happening from the debuff, plus the mass AoE here, to where obviously the goal there is to mitigate as much damage as possible, but the point is it's a controlled, coordinated cooldown, basically. When that stuff happens. So we're kind of on that. And so that's where we're at on that right there. So that's an interesting So, that's interesting that they think it will clean up ranged DPS. So, this is what's going to happen, and this is what's going to happen because the ranged DPS tends to be because of the because ranged DPS is targeted so much in everything, and because they constantly have to deal with these situations over and over again, ranged DPS is very bursty, typically. Okay, and because they're constantly having to choose between cooldown and soak, and to get my cast off or my cooldowns, and then the responsibility falls to the healer versus just stepping out and then starting your cast. So you get this good play of DPS. Do I take the DPS hit or do I survive, kind of thing. So to take that away means basically that caster DPS is going to be less bursty and with more sustain. What that means to me is that we're going to have more moving, like Scorch, where you can cast while moving spells, and so now casters become more like melee, and very possible that maybe melee has some more casting abilities with cast timer as well too. And then what's going to happen is we're going to have some coming together moments, basically, that homogenize. Yeah, it's basically going to homogenize melee and casters, basically. So, and if you're proficient at one or the other, it's kind of cool because you're going to be kind of naturally good at both, kind of thing, just naturally, because the way, like, if you're a really good caster and really high partisan caster, you're so used to it anyway that them taking down the pressure off you, or if they pressure you in other ways, then it's going to be like more suitable for you to move. But it's going to be more position based and more movement based, or do X thing mechanic, which is kind of in turn of stop your DPS, go do your mechanic, and then come back and do DPS, kind of like melee does. Or it's a stacking event. So you have that. You're still going to have all that stuff. But I think what this says is range is going to have much more of a sustainable type of DPS, where I don't think melee's DPS is going to change that much. We might get a cooldown kind of thing to where we're a little bit less bursty. But I think the overall arcing way that we look at DPS probably won't change that much. So this is just like my first like initial opinions on this kind of stuff. So all right, and now they're going to discuss Warcraft logs. Before that happens, I'm going to go get a drink. I'll be back. So all right, let's see. They're going to address logs now, so okay. So logging tools are going to survive. All right, all right. So they're worried. They're worried about real time data. They're less worried about. So logs become even more important now. Basically, logs. If you can read logs at a high level, you can actually raid at a very high level. That's good to know. That's good for me anyway, because I understand logs. So. So they say kind of read between the lines here. So they're saying logs are still going to be a thing, but the question is are they going to allow the same amount of information to be said on those logs? Basically, they're not going to. What they're not going to do is. Yeah, there's going to be probably a limitation to the amount of data or what data they can grab off the logs, basically. So in that limitation is going to be we just don't know. So I'm sure, and that might even change. Like they might change their stance on that completely. So which is not a That's okay, I think. So I think that right, them having like that could change. I could see them giving um, just limiting the information kind of stuff. Like, all right, let's see. Let's see what else they have to say about this.
That's the charge in.
All right. So they're saying the overarching changes here are based on like basically they're changing because they're tired of chase items, kind of like the Jaster Diamond, you know, and like um, you know other one like super rare items basically. Um, so and it basically goes against like playing the game at one strategy is best kind of thing. So by kind of uniformly making this game like this they haven't even talked about like the specs or the talent trees or anything like that. They haven't done that, but what it seems is like they're going to make things a little bit more uniform, at least gameplay wise. But yeah, the big question is how is this going to affect balancing? Because they want to get away. They want to get away from one build being meta, basically, and they want to have because they're getting away from meta interrupts. They're going away to more mechanics, probably more personal accountability, probably, which for some players is going to be really so like because and like I said like their logs are going to show their performance like the way they're failing, but they still if they don't understand how to read logs, if they don't have that, or even if they don't know how to read the damage meter that Blizzard gives them, they're going to be behind. This is at the end of the day, this is a social game. Hmm. Hmm.
Speak, friend. For the Horde!
Hmm. Okay. Uh, like, hmm. Basically, it says they're going to take more of an Elden Ring approach, um, and more and they're going. Hopefully, this means that the lore and the storytelling part of WoW is going to be more, and the more of the universe and is going to be more intricate, and you're going to be more integrated into the WoW scenario. And they're pushing. This is really interesting, and it's interesting because it gives back to the lore community for a deeper sense of gameplay. It takes away the add-ons. It streamlines performance possibly, and it's but it's going to give a different gameplay experience to people, to where if you're a field player, you're probably going to do really, really well in this. If you're a add-on only player and just going off of add-ons, and you have no sense of, if you have no sense of what's the right word? If you have no sense of gameplay, okay? If you don't actually know, like, if you don't know World of Warcraft at the deepest levels, you're going to make mistakes because an add-on is not there to funnel you information, basically. Okay? And that's a good thing. You know, it's a good thing and bad thing. Like, it's a bad thing because it does make us be adaptable. Okay? and but it also it makes things more interesting, in a lot of ways. But the people that really like um, up to date information, basically, and they like all that information. They like designing your own UI is going to be very simplified now. Like you'll have your gathering ions and like auctioneer and things like that. You'll have all that stuff. Like so it's really nice because the quality of life. However, when it comes to anything combat log related, it's going to be limited. Anything that's deadly boss mods timer related, it's going to be limited. And it'll be cool if what I said comes true to fruition, is that as time goes on, more it'll be exciting as they also give more information out than to help you kind of get the boss down. They view information as a resource to help raiders be raiders. Now, whether that happens or not, I don't know. I'm kind of speculating here, but it would be kind of cool that if at week 4 you get more information than at week 1, but you also get the gear upgrade, and you also get like a nerf or buff or whatever. You get like a helm enchant, or all those things included. So, so that's kind of why that's why the situation's like really unique, and it's why I'm looking forward to it, because it's going to be a change of pace, but it's also going to be a change of pace to raid lead. It's going to be harder in some ways and easier in others. But one thing you're not going to have to worry about is the UI of everyone is like the same, basically. So, and there's going to be it's going to be uniform across everybody on the board in some ways, and it's going to be limited in others. So, yeah. So, so let me see if anybody's here and wants to group up and do this elite quest real quick. So I don't know. It's really cool. Obviously, we don't have anything to look forward to until midnight comes out. So you're talking about 6 months here, minimum 6 months to when this comes out. Probably longer, probably more like 9 months. So we're probably, but so. But anyway, so anyway, so yeah, that's where we're at on that. So I'm sure they're going to have more updates. I'm sure this is just the beginning kind of thing. There's a
Be safe. Speak, friend. Strength.
Greetings, man.
be seeing ya.
It'll be. So it'll be interesting because if you talk about like game design, they're arguing game design is the big thing here. So here, I want to grab this quest and see if there's anybody here that wants to do this one. Then I'll just get rid of it if nobody wants to. So there's like
Spirits be with you, man.
Group. Go here. Here. Maybe I can do this on my own. I will find out. We'll go see if we can do this on our own. But, you know, changes are coming. So, And I wonder how much I'm excited for the uniform, the uniformity, basically, of like I'm excited for the fact that it's going to be an even playing field to play in WoW, basically. So, and just like other games, like, and if they're going to get retention, as long as they have like a really good retention rate and it's really fun gameplay along with this, that's the only thing I'm really afraid is that the game might not be as fun, basically. But then again, like, you know, are the pro teams going to continue to be up there? Are they going to be challenged? Are they going to be able to? Are they going to be able to? You know, are they going to be challenged? Is Liquid still going to, like? Are they still going to do their thing? Like, or will they be disincentivized with a lot of things? I'm not really sure. You know, so. So it's like there's a lot of questions, basically. Let's see. Oh, so I need this. Where do I get these at? Chart. Well, if I have to, yeah, that might be a problem. Yep, I had a feeling. I might be able to do it, but that's rough. If I can't, I need a tank and a healer basically. Man, 11k HP. And then on top of that, an add. Yeah, that's nice. So, all right. So, it'll be interesting. Obviously, we're not going to see change for months, so not not too worried about seeing anything crazy. Basically, expect the next season to go as normal, same thing, which isn't going to be too outrageous or anything like that because we're obviously used to it. So we ran half the dungeons in season 1, so we have that. We'll get like Stone Vault back and stuff, so that'll be nice. You'll be able to run those on a different 4-piece. So. So, anyway. Yeah. It'll be fun to watch. It'll be fun.
Zug zug.
Okay, we'll just go over here to Hinterlands. So.
Dabu.
What's beyond your mind? Be seeing ya.
So, all right. All right. Anyway, we will. Well, I can't really. I can go and do this quest right here. Like, I can do this. I can do this elongated feathers quest, which I'll do. But other than that, this is gonna take like. It's gonna take a group. I might have to actually, unless I go somewhere else, I guess to Feralus. Go over here, do this. But even then, like, I guess I can do Mara and Maradon or whatever. All right, we'll do this. I definitely want to get 50. So I can do Mara. We'll see if there's anybody. Oh, there's quite a few people here. So if they won't, no mages, so I get picked up quite quickly. Oh yeah. Yep. All right.
Greetings. Goodbye. Peace, friend. Farewell.
Is there trouble? Hi!
That's still recharging. I can't cast out yet.
What is it? Embrace the shadow.
Good evening. All right.
That spell is brilliant.
Health warning. Health warning. Health warning. Health warning. Health warning. Health warning.
It's too far away. I'm out of reach. That's the charge in. That space ahead.
Health warning.
Silence is there. Oh boy.
Health warning. Health warning.
Can't still recharge in. It's too far away. Can't still recharge in. Isn't ready yet. Cast out yet. Still recharge in. Cast out yet. My mana is low. Can't still recharge in.
Health warning.
I'm out of range. can't attack that. That's still recharging. Cast out yet.
I need to get a drink real quick, so I'll be back.
I need to target something first.
What is nature's call?
can't attack that target.
I'm listening. Beware the living. Dark Lady watching.
get the voodoo. Spirits be with you, man.
How you doing, man? Be good.
What can I help you with? Farewell!
All right. So it's been 4 hours. I only wanted to spend like 4 hours tonight streaming, basically. So we did a lot. We were in Maradon. And we're going to have to run this a few more times, basically. The other side, there's two sides to that dungeon. There's the purple side, and then I think the blue side, or the pink side, I forget. Well, anyway, the issue, I have to go turn in this, because I think it's a chain. Plus I want the flight path up north to Moonglade. I want that. And then I'm going to go to... And then I have to do Magecraft. I'm pretty sure this is enchanting, I think. I'm not sure where this goes. So I want to do at least a start to this quest as well. I want to try to do all the elite quests in Hinterlands. And that will happen tomorrow. But if it doesn't happen tomorrow, it'll happen Tuesday or Wednesday, because I do want to spend some time. So I do want to spend some time on retail, getting crests for my character, getting that. That's going to take roughly 5 or 6, probably more, runs in M+, depending on how they go. So I'd like to spend maybe to spend the whole day in retail, or if I don't see that happening, possibly, if that doesn't happen, then maybe I'll take a day off. I don't know. So more than likely, I'll spend the day in retail, and then come back here on Tuesday after I do some do like a vault and things like that. So on the retail account, which will take a little while. So nothing huge. So anyway, yeah, that's probably either tomorrow or the stream title. No, I'm not doing 24-hour stream. I'm not doing 20 hours. The stream title will reflect what I do. Let's say that. And I may do both. I might do retail and classic for the most part. So can I get an invite to the all right. So anyway, sorry, somebody asked for an invite into the guild, so did that. Yeah, for the most part, that's about it. I need to... Did I sell something? No. I need to go put this in the auction house again. I need to see if I sold... I need to see if that sold. Did it sell? Yeah, it did. So maybe I can put another one of those things up there. Why... I don't understand. I don't know why I lost like 10 gold here. I don't know where this went necessarily, because I had like 105 gold. Maybe it was just me flying around doing stuff. Maybe so, because I just did some quests. So I don't. So, oh well. So, 8 gold. Well, it seems like we're gonna get like... So, anyway, yeah, I'll do that tomorrow. Do some more retail stuff. It won't be bad. So it'll be fun. So, and plus I have some editing to do and things like that. So anyway, I appreciate the viewership as always. Definitely follow, subscribe to the channel if you haven't. Viewership it's free, helps channel grow. So it's definitely appreciated as always. So anyway, I'll see you guys tomorrow, and I'm just going to I'll see you later.